I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculpture well those passions read, yet which survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair." Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. I know that starting with Ozymandias by Percy Shelley must seem a grim and foreboding way to open a talk called Your Third Death, but I had good reason to ponder the power of a name, a power which lasts even when all other powers seem fleeting and doomed to fail. Wicca is a neo-pagan, earth-centered religion which draws on ancient pagan practices and traditions, including some which date back to the 13th century BCE, all the way back to the reign of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses II. And Ozymandias was the Greek name for the pharaoh Ramesses II. One practice in Wicca is the Wheel of the Year, which is an annual cycle of 8 seasonal festivals which mark the year's chief solar events, solstices and equinoxes, and the midpoints between them. UUFBR actually observes some of these. For example, we have a tradition of dancing around the maypole on May Day, also known as Beltane. And our winter solstice celebration will be this year on Thursday, December 21st at 7 p.m., where we will sing carols and tell stories and light candles. But today we celebrate Samhain, which aligns with the modern observances of Halloween, All Souls Day, and Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. To quote Eden McCoy, the pagan Samhain is not and never was associated with evil or negativity. It has always been a time to reaffirm our belief in the oneness of all spirits, and in our firm resolution that physical death is not the final act of existence. Although death is very much a part of Samhain's symbolism, this Sabbath also celebrates the triumph of life over death. For Wiccans, Samhain is a time to celebrate the lives of those who have passed on, and we are encouraged to pay respect for ancestors, family members, elders of the faith, friends and pets, and other loved ones who have died. Now sing we of the brave of old, who would not sell themselves for gold, yet left us riches manifold. Alleluia. Who long the world's old sorrows bore, who toiled and loved and suffered sore, and being dead live evermore. Let me pause right there, actually. Because you'll remember, the name of this talk is Your Third Death, so live evermore. It comes from David Eagleman's Some 40 Tales of the Afterlives, which was published back in 2009. In the tale Metamorphosis, Eagleman describes an afterlife as a limbo-esque lobby where the dead must wait until every single person on earth has ceased to remember them. It starts, there are 3 deaths. The first is when the body ceases to function. The second is when the body is consigned to the grave. The third is that moment, sometime in the future, when your name is spoken for the last time. It seems too horrible to contemplate. What if I were to ask you if you would die and never, ever be thought of again? because I would rather ask you to make a momentous decision, to accept an opportunity Ozymandias, at the peak of his powers, could not have imagined in touching the eternal. For the ancient Egyptians, the worst fate a soul, the Ka, could suffer after physical death was to be forgotten. For this reason, veneration of ancestors in ancient Egypt was an important rite of remembrance in order to keep the Ka alive. So to speak, literally, some tomb inscriptions invited passers-by to speak aloud the name of the deceased within to help perpetuate their memory. For you see, we remember the ones who traveled before us in the ideals, dreams, the love that passed down through generations as we touch the very earth that birthed us all. We feel the cloud of witnesses on the path with us today as we share the air they themselves took in and released every moment that they breathed. How better to honor our ancestors and guardians than to send their names onward, ahead of us, to the stars. Creating an ancestral altar to honor the deceased members of your family or others who have passed on is an ancient spiritual practice found in many cultures and traditions around the world. For example, in Mexico, people create an ofrenda to remember their loved ones on Dia de los Muertos. We begin this ceremony with paying tribute and expressing gratitude to our ancestors. From our histories, our ancestors call to us. We ask you to call to your mind your particular ancestors, family roots, spiritual mentors, and guides. Each one of us brings into this place our own network of people and places. Place photos and heirlooms and other mementos on our altar. Votive candles will be lit in memory of the people you honor, saying their name aloud and expressing well wishes. After that, as you come up to place your memento mori on our memorial table, a member of the IT team will have a tablet to help you add the name of a person or pet that you wish to memorialize. The church's newsletter this month has had an article about NASA's Europa Clipper. You are invited to enter a name over the internet that will be flown on the spacecraft, along with a poem written by the US Poet Laureate dedicated to the Europa Clipper mission to a moon of the planet Jupiter, named Europa, which is believed to hold a vast ocean beneath its icy surface, a frontier in the search for life beyond Earth. You do not have to do this. If you would rather not publicly share the name of your great-great-grandfather, William Archibald Devil Bill Maxwell, you do not have to put his name on the internet and keep the family shame to yourself. But if you do, the names that are submitted online are going to be etched on a microchip that will be mounted beside it, like a message in a bottle, to travel across the vastness of space. People put a lot of love and soul into the things they create, so on our journey to distant places, even Europa, we carry our honored ancestors in our hearts, and they rejoice in their triumphs with us. Even if we are not going there with our bodies, a bit of our consciousness will go there. If you are joining us on Zoom, to sign, the link will be go.nasa.gov/message in a bottle.